believes that science shows marijuana has health benefits. Does it? One doctor we spoke to this week calls pot the best medication he's ever worked with. Others say it's a potent, addictive, gateway drug with dangerous side effects that ruins lives and families. Both sides have studies to prove their case. So what exactly are the facts? Let's try to get some answers. 360 MD, Dr. Sanjay Gupta joins us now. Sanjay, let's get at it. Are there benefits to medical marijuana? I mean, is there a case for its use? Because the patients we talk to swear by it.
Yeah, well, the answer is yes. I mean, there are some medical benefits to marijuana, and this is more than just anecdotal evidence now, Anderson. There are some studies to sort of back that up. We know that there are receptors in the brain, cannabinoid receptors, and they control things like your pain levels, your hunger levels, things related to your mood. And therein lies some of the possible benefits medically of marijuana. For example, someone who's having terrible malnourishment or terrible nausea as a result of chemotherapy or being infected with HIV/AIDS, using marijuana could stimulate appetite. Neuropathic pain, Anderson, something I deal with quite a bit as a neurosurgeon. It's that lancinating nerve pain that is often caused by trauma or some sort of injury or surgery. Sometimes it can be very refractory to pain medications. Marijuana can help there as well. Multiple sclerosis, something else that I treat, that's something that causes significant tremors, for example. Marijuana can help. But the caveat, Anderson, is that sometimes other medications, which we know more about, may be better alternatives. So it can help, but there might be other things that even better.
Is there medical evidence that it can be dangerous? I mean, what do doctors say?
Well, most of the studies on this really look at some of the shorter-term effects of marijuana. It is hard to make the statement right now about the longer-term dangers of marijuana. The medical community as a whole, for example, the American Medical Association, is against the smoking of marijuana. I mean, that is a stance that they take as an organized medical association. But there are several areas in the brain, again, that marijuana affects. The hippocampus, Anderson, is an area that's responsible for memory. So short-term memory problems is something that is often cited. Also, the developing brain. Does it have somehow a greater impact on the developing brain? There are studies on this, although as I look through them today, even not conclusive. It's a real concern. There's also, this idea that you talk about THC, the active ingredient that Joe Johns was talking about, a lot of the other pieces this week, but there are 300 other compounds or so as well, and what exactly do they do? And finally, this issue that you raised, Anderson, about addiction. Is it addictive? You're going to find conflicting studies, not an exact number, but anywhere between 5 and 9% of people who smoke marijuana regularly could become addicted. Take a look there as compared to other substances. Tobacco, 31%, heroin, 23%, cocaine, 17%. You can see the numbers there, and you have cannabis at the bottom, 9%. So there is that risk as well, Anderson.
Because, I mean, a lot of the people, like Melissa Etheridge, I said the addictive question, and she basically just laughed and said, look, absolutely not. There's no way it's physically addictive. Other people say, well, maybe psychologically it has some addictive. I mean, does one make a difference between possible psychological addiction and physical addiction?
That's a great question. And when you talk about addiction, typically from a medical standpoint, you are talking about some sort of physical addiction. So the body changes in some way. It could be a mood-related thing, but associated with that mood, you may have, some sort of physical manifestations of the withdrawal. So there are criteria for withdrawal.
We got a text question I want to get to. Matthew from New Mexico asked, can we not obtain the medical benefits of marijuana without smoking it? So how about that? I mean, there is this federally approved drug on the market, Marinol, that treats the same symptoms that medical marijuana does. Some people say it doesn't work fast enough.
Yeah.
Is Marinol just not a decent substitute?
I don't think we're there yet. It's a synthetic form of THC. So the advantage, you get rid of a lot of those other compounds that we don't know a lot about. One of the disadvantages you just mentioned, it's a pill, so it may not work fast enough. One thing about using marijuana, either smoking it or vaporizing it, is you can titrate it a little bit more easily, so you can get the appropriate dose. With the pill, you may take too much or too little. It's a little bit harder to titrate.
All right, interesting information, good facts. Sanjay Gupta, appreciate it. Thanks, Sanjay.
Thanks, Anderson.
Tomorrow's Special on Pot continues a stunning report on how the collapse of the housing market may be fueling the growth of marijuana. Here's a preview.
A 3-bedroom ranch, a cut lawn, a family of 3, and a $500,000 a year illegal business in just one room. This is what could only be described as a pot factory in a garage on a suburban street in Miami. Look at just the water system that brings the water to every individual plant that's in one of these pots. And these plants, 7 feet tall, just all in a garage that you would not notice from the street.
Fascinating. Up next tonight, though, a cold case solved. A boy who disappeared in 1955, now a man. He says that's him.